If you have been listening to the woke left, anyone in the Democratic Party or the media, you've been hearing the accusation white supremacy thrown around quite a bit. Now, you may be confused by this because you always thought a white supremacist looked like this guy over here, or maybe this guy over here. So in order to help you with this confusion, we here at Liberty Underground have developed certain guidelines so that you could follow to figure out whether, yes, indeed, you are a white supremacist. Number one, if you think critical race theory that says all white people are bad and all black people are good, if you think that's racist, well, you might be a white supremacist. If you think that only American citizens should actually vote in an American election, you just might be a white supremacist. If you don't think Barack Obama is the smartest man on earth and the greatest president who ever lived, then you definitely might be a white supremacist. If you are curious why Maxine Waters owns a $6 million house on a $150,000 a year salary, well, if you're wondering about that, you might be a white supremacist. If you think that illegal aliens pouring into our country from the southern border is a bad idea, you just might be a white supremacist. If you think Oprah making $1 billion a year sort of contradicts the idea that America is a racist country, well then, you might be a white supremacist. If you don't understand why Black Lives Matter means that you glorify violent black criminals and ignore the fact that 30 million black babies have been aborted by Planned Parenthood, if you think that's wrong, well, you just might be a white supremacist. If you think LeBron James and the NBA criticizing America, yet praising the communist Chinese who throw their own citizens in concentration camps, if you think there's something wrong with that, well, you just might be a white supremacist. If you think that burning down cities and looting businesses doesn't equate with peaceful protest, you just might be a white supremacist. And finally, if you are confused why BLM has collected $90 million and not given a single cent to the victims whose images they use, yet turn around and buy themselves $1 million homes, if you think there's something wrong with that, well, you just might be a white supremacist. So, there you go. We hope these guidelines have been useful for you. So now you can make the decision, should I go down to my local community college and enroll in a critical race theory class? Now, for all you snowflakes out there that think maybe I should be the one enrolling in a critical race theory class, my response to that would be, don't hold your breath. I got an interesting letter a couple of days ago. This letter is from the White House, and it was sent to me by Joe Biden. Now, notice I did not say President Biden. That was not an oversight. But anyways, Joe sent me this letter telling me that he's going to be sending me $2,800. Now, I didn't ask for $2,800, so I had to ask myself, why is Joe sending me this letter? Then I realized the purposes of this letter is to bribe me. See, Joe wants me to forget that tens of thousands of people, illegal aliens, are pouring over our border every single day. Joe would like for me not to notice that gas prices are going through the roof. And most of all, Joe would like me to overlook the fact that the last election was rigged. Now, I'm going to take the $2,800 because inflation is going through the roof, and this $2,800 could buy my Starbucks for next week. But I want Joe to know, Joe, $2,800 is not enough for me to abandon my Constitution. $2,800 is not enough for me to give up my American Republic. And $2,800 certainly is not enough for me to overlook the fact that you are an illegitimate president and a traitor to the U.S. Constitution. In short, Joe, I've got 3 words to make you understand where I stand. Not my president. Last week, we found out that Liz Cheney, Queen of the Neocons, has been stripped of her leadership role in the Republican Party. Now, you think this would be a wake-up call for Liz, but it's not. She's going around saying that she's going to be fighting the big lie. Now, in her mind, the big lie is that the election was stolen. Trump is the big liar. But, of course, we all know that the big lie actually is that the election was free and fair. Now, how do we know this? Well, there's a lot of things. Number one, statistical anomalies are rampant throughout this election. Mathematical improbabilities, clandestine overnight ballot dumping, violations of election rules, violations of the U.S. Constitution. Now, if that's not enough, we know that Joe Biden, when he was running, could barely get 30 people to show up at one of his rallies, while Trump was drawing 50,000. Joe Biden can't get anybody to watch his live streaming. When he did his most latest speech in front of Congress, it was one of the lowest rated speeches ever for a president after 100 days or within 100 days. Not to mention the fact when he was at when he showed up at the Super Bowl, he got booed. So anybody with half a brain would notice that there's something very suspicious about this last election. So the question arises, why would Liz Cheney be going around calling the fact that the election was stolen the big lie? Well, there's 3 possibilities. Possibility number 1, Liz Cheney is stupid. I mean, if her IQ were 10 points higher, she would be a rock. Now, I personally don't believe Liz Cheney is stupid. As a matter of fact, to achieve her position, to be in Congress, you actually have to be pretty smart. Of course, that doesn't explain Eric Swalwell, but I digress. Possibility number 2, Liz Cheney knows the election was stolen. And she knows Biden is an idiot. But she believes that if they actually told the truth, that her and the other Republicans went around telling the truth, it would be a constitutional crisis like we've never seen before in this country. It might even actually lead to a civil war. So she's doing it because she sees allowing this nitwit to stay in office is the lesser of 2 evils. She's doing this for the good of the country. Now, I actually personally believe that is what's going on with the Supreme Court. Obviously, the conservative judges know that there's something very wrong with this election, but I think they believe that if they were actually to listen to the cases, they would have no choice but to come to the conclusion that this election was stolen, and then that would throw the country into crisis, maybe even a civil war. I don't think that's why Liz Cheney is doing this. There is now a third possibility. Liz Cheney is a product of the deep state. Her daddy is king of the deep state. Her loyalty is to the Washington establishment, global corporations, the military-industrial complex. That's where her loyalties lie, not with the American people. Now, Liz knows the election was stolen. She knows Biden is a buffoon. But see, Biden is their buffoon. He's a member of the deep state himself. So they would rather have a nitwit who's one of them than an outsider like Donald Trump disrupting the status quo. This is what I believe is going on with Liz Cheney. Now, Liz, I'm just here to tell you, for 35 years, I drank your Republican Kool-Aid. I voted for Bush Cheney twice. But I'm here to tell you, I have discovered that you neocons and you rhinos are not out for the American people. You are out for yourselves. You are out for your Washington establishment friends. You are out for your global corporations, which donate millions to your fund. This lie, the big lie, truly is that you and the rest of your rhinos have the American people's best interest at heart. That is the big lie. So, if you like what you heard or you like what you saw, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and please comment down below.
And follow us in all of our Liberty Underground social media pages. We just hit 1,000 followers on our Facebook page, and we are so excited about that. So please look us up, follow us. We'd love to hear your feedback and your comments.
Absolutely. And if you're a libtard who is offended by what you saw here today, we actually don't care all that much. But go ahead and comment anyways, because we could always use a good laugh.
Thank you.